Perfect. Good morning. Yeah, this weekend, definitely not the outcome we wanted for either match. And for me personally, Friday night is one of the hardest matches for me to swallow. Statistically, we beat them in basically every category. We outscored them, we outhit them, we outdug them. They didn't outblock us, but on paper, looking at that match, we win. And so those are the hardest games for me to swallow. And then day two, some people weren't producing like we needed them to on Friday, and then just minor injuries. So we made a couple adjustments, and we couldn't figure it out day two. We're right there. We have close sets, but we're not able to finish. And so, talking through some things, working through some things this past weekend and then this week to get ready to be home. For us, the volleyball's there. I know that it is. We are very talented. Even though we are young, I'm not going to make excuses for anything other than we have to make some adjustments on our end as a staff and fix the issues at hand and just go win games. Told the team this weekend that all we did was make it harder on ourselves. If we keep the main thing, which is volleyball, we will go be successful. And we've got to focus on that this weekend against Troy because we're both sitting 1-3 right now.
On the Saturday game, had the 29 attack errors. Kind of what did you feel? Do you feel like there was something that was kind of a trending thing with that was causing that?
Not necessarily. I think, a couple people they were off the night before and struggled to just get in a rhythm again on day two. And so we did make the adjustments. We had Ryan set so that we could have Nene go hit for us if need be. And it ended up being that we needed her to go hit because, Marley was a little bit off, Jazz was a little bit off, but we ended up moving her to the outside because we didn't really have any other issues. We are in a situation right now where we do have players out, and I don't know when they are going to be back. And so we've got to get creative and exhaust all options as a staff for just every lineup that we can come up with. And so we tried that on Saturday, and I think just once we go through it a little bit more, it could be a little bit better. But we can't have so many players off. I think we had, a couple hitters on, and I think half was on and half was off, which can't be the case. We can maybe have one that's not doing well and pick up the slack in other areas. But when it is an arm that we're used to having as our go-to, we've got to be able to put numbers up.
Can you talk a little bit more about Ryan and, her having to kind of adjust and kind of take these different spots? Can you talk about evaluate her performance in that?
Yeah, no, I think Ryan did a great job of going in and doing her job. Two things that she is very good at is serving and defending. And we've struggled in that position. And that was another reason, why we looked at making that change, because we tend to lose points in those rotations because whether it's from the serving, whether it's just decision making. And so Ryan went in and she served really well. She went on runs when she did serve, and then she defended really well. There are things that she could do a little bit better, but she's young. We sit down and we watch film together, her and I, and she sees what we see after we go back and watch, and she knows that she needs to make a couple different decisions. But I will say that Nene did a really good job of, her and I sat down prior to making that switch, and she was a phenomenal teammate in that situation. She handled it really well. She was mature about it. And, she always says whatever the team needs. And so she stepped up to the plate and she went and hit for us. And I think that she did a great job in that role.
So coming in, Troy is next. With that, you said you guys have the similar records and things of that nature.
Yeah.
First of all, what are some of the things that Troy does that kind of stands out? And then also having a matchup with a team kind of with that same record, kind of what's the focus going into these two matches?
Yeah. So For Troy, what they do, they're very pin heavy. They like to set their pins. They have one go-to who gets most of the balls, which we've seen her over the years. We're familiar with her style of play and what she does, but knowing that they are very pin heavy, just keeping our scheming very important in each rotation that we're in. And then I think the focus is us. We have to continue to focus on us and what we can control. When we do that, we play lights out. I mean, we hit, oh my gosh, close to a 300 the first night. The second day is where we have to focus on minimizing errors. You know, we talk about being young, and I hate using that as an excuse, but there are times in the sets where we have just mental lapses, and I do think that is us being young, whether we're out of rotation or miscommunication. And so I think if we can continue to focus on us, then we just stick to the scout and everything else will just do its part.
You talked about how that first match where everything looked on paper like this was a win.
Yeah.
Do you think with a young team, does that carry over perhaps going forward and maybe weighing a bit on the confidence of like, hey, the first night we did everything and it still didn't work?
Yeah, I think it can with the younger players. I think some of them, they are used to having to go back-to-back days because they've done it for the last 2, 3, and 4 years. But with those that are new, that haven't gone conference matches back-to-back, it can be hard. And, you know, I feel like I've seen a trend in those that are younger. They're the ones that have struggled putting back-to-back days together from an offensive standpoint. I think that our defense, again, has done a phenomenal job. I mean, I can't say enough about Kennedy this weekend. She dug over 5 balls a set. She was in every coverage play. I mean, she passed over a 2 again. She served well. She really kept us alive from the back row. I think Sophia did a great job too back there. But it's the offensive part that we really got to figure out, just putting back-to-back days together. And then blocking too. We've got to be better blocking. We will have it figured out one day, and then the next day it's non-existent. Whether it's the first day or the second day, it's flipped back and forth.
Well, one of the plays on Saturday, which was getting you the set, was Jasmine going to the knee, then coming up and getting in there. How much, talk about, first of all, her play recently and, you know, being able to show her resiliency to get that point.
Yeah, no, for Jazz?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, Jazz, she struggled a little bit on the first day, and her and I think, had a really good conversation. She's really competitive. She's really hard on herself, so I was really proud how she, you know, bounced back the next day. It might not have been her best match overall, but she did a really good job of just being level-headed and coming out and adjusting to where we needed her. You know, we had told her, you might start here, but we might switch you to the outside, and I think she handled it really well. And it's going to be the same thing moving forward. You know, we don't know what pin we're going to have her on right now because of players being out, injured, whatever it might be. So I'm very proud of her and what she did, and she did a great job of being able to handle it.
We talk a lot about Caitlin Dimps, right? And rightfully so. She's the senior, and she's phenomenal, and she's your leading kill artist. But Grace Sweeney had a phenomenal weekend. Kind of talk about her and just her ability to be able to take over in certain moments like that as well.
Yeah, so Grace is phenomenal. You know, she is a young player, but I think she is a very level-headed, mature, just high IQ player. She came from Mizzou, so she knows what it's like to be in a winning program. You know, they went to the Sweet 16 last year, and I think she is a very tangible person. You know, she wants to be able to go and grab something. And so her and I spoke before the game, and she is one that I believe should have a double-double every single game. And I mean, night 1, she has 19 kills and hit a 515. And we're like, okay, this is the Grace that we know. And so then going into day 2, it's the same conversations. And she is one that's, she should be a go-to for us. If Kaylin's not on the floor, then, you know, we've told Grace if she has a very long leash, and I think the team knows that right now, whether she is doing well or she is off, we have to have her on the court because she just brings something that we need for the other 5 people on the court, for the bench, whatever it might be. And so I think knowing that she has a statistical goal every match now, and that's something that she can go grab, I think is going to help her even more. But I mean, she has been phenomenal for us, and I think she's going to continue to be.
back at home this weekend. It's homecoming week. What are you expecting crowd-wise? I know you always expect a large crowd, but it's got to be a little more exciting just given all the festivities that are going on this week.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we draw a really good crowd like we have continued to do so far. I really want to break 1,000, so I encourage everybody and their friend and their mom and their brother and whoever to come out and support if they can. There is a lot going on. It's exciting. I'm hoping that we get as many alumni back as we can. Since I've been here, since Kelsey has played here, it's the first time that we have played at home on homecoming. We were able to be a part of it last year, but we were on the road and just made it back. But I think just to be able to be home for everything that is going on throughout the week and truly be a part of all of it, it is exciting for us. And so I hope that we really do draw a good crowd both Thursday and Friday night.
I'm glad you brought up Kelsey because we kind of forget that she was there whenever you took over. What is it like having somebody on your staff who was there when you took over and kind of knows like what your idea and what your vision has been like from start to finish? You can kind of preach that to the players.
Yeah, I think you just said it. She has been the voice in that, we try to show pictures of what the gym looked like, of what crowds look like prior to taking over this program. And, you don't really know unless you were a part of it. And so her being able to be that voice for the team. And I mean, even just little things of like behind the scenes, we talked about it this weekend. I think there are times that we don't show enough gratitude in whoever it might be, for whoever it might be. And so Sarah, told the team at one point, like, you guys, you don't necessarily know what goes on behind the scenes. Like, we wouldn't have a bus or a roof over our head or all these meals if Kelsey wasn't putting in all the work on the front end. And Kelsey's like, you don't realize that as a player, and it's hard to to kind of overlook that at times. And so, she's been a great voice, I think, just in so many areas across the board because she is young. She is relatable. She's only been out of it a few years, and she is the voice between the team and us. And I can't thank her enough for what she has done and continues to do for this program.